Hey, this is Sean from Phinehas, and this is Antihero Online.
All right, so to start things off, the tour has been going on for a couple of weeks now. It goes on to the middle of December. What has the tour been like, and what kind of memories are you taking away from it so far?
This tour's been awesome. All of the bands have been hanging out, which is always a cool thing. Sometimes you go on the road and not everybody hangs out, and it's just like, oh, cool, man. I met you, and it's like I just met you, and it's the last day of tour. Anyways, but no, I mean, Fit and Heart's Wake, they've all been great people to us, and have been super fun to tour with. So I don't know, there's some camaraderie going on, and I think that's from any tour. I feel like you take away the friendships and the or if you already knew people going in, the relationship gets stronger, so yeah, I mean, we released a CD on this tour too, so that has some memories too. It was a hectic first week, just driving all night and then trying to man the social medias and all that stuff at the same time and still play a set and not be exhausted, so
yeah, you guys just did release an album. What was Ben's mentality kind of going into the studio and recording this album?
I would say it was the same mentality that we've taken in the past, as far as just wanting to write good songs. I feel like there's a perpetual like one-uppingness going on in our genre, where we're trying to write the heaviest thing or whatever else, and I feel like for us, we just want to write good songs, and we want that to be it. If there's a legacy at all, we want that to be it. Good songwriters with message behind it, and that would just hit people in the feels and also show off some guitar skills. So it was all, the majority of the record and the recording process was done in-house. Dan, our guitar player, tracked all the guitars and bass, and I flew out to him for a handful of weeks on multiple occasions to just during the writing process and a lot of the tracking process. And so in that way, our mentality was different. We wanted to, track things properly, and not just as like scratch tracks or rough demos or pre-production. Like, this was actually going to be on the record and on the final product, so we took our time with it and made sure that we did it right, so yeah, I mean, then lyrically, the entire record is North Korea themed, and just about the atrocities of the Kim dynasty. So,
and what kind of influenced the band going in that direction and talking about those events?
Well, I have a vivid memory in my brain of seeing a picture or a news story. It was something like that, but it was about a kid where photographers are only allowed to take pictures of things that they let you take pictures of over there. They like, you see what you want to see, or what they want you to see, but it's like a news piece about a kid grabbing grass from a public park over there, and like ripping it out to eat, because they've had massive food shortages for decades, and that just like hit me hard, and with all the things going on in America right now, and the kind of political climate, that stuck out to me more. I feel like a lot of stuff going on right now in our country, like, as as much as yes, we're wanting to progress and stuff, I feel like we also kind of lose context in fighting with each other as to like how, and this is not to I guess belittle anybody who's gone through really hard stuff over here, because I know that there are people who have, but you know, I would say the vast majority of us do not have it as hard as going to a public park to rip out grass so we can have something to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, that kind of stuck with me, that visual. And then as I began to research into it more, I mean, I was terrified of researching into it. I was terrified of what I would find, and it ended up being just way the hell worse than I ever imagined, you know. Like 3/4 of the country doesn't have enough food. 2 in 5 kids have their growth stunted from malnutrition. Some of them have bowed limbs from child labor, public executions, political concentration camps that have existed since the 50s. You know, and this is all stuff that you don't, you know, it doesn't make the sexiest headline.
Yeah, you don't
know what I
see
mean?
it.
You know, all you see is this crazy person, Kim Jong-un, on the news. And, you know, for a lot of people, anyways, it's just like their reaction is, nuke 'em. And it's like, there's 25 million people over there, and it's not their fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So, you know, I don't really know what I was wanting to like convey lyrically, other than just getting this stuff out there. You know, there's some things in life that you don't know why certain things stick with you and like kind of make it hard to sleep at night. Sometimes you just have this tug on your heart that you feel like you gotta do something about, you know, no matter what it is, you know. And so that ended up becoming Dark Flag. So,
and then the question, like personally, did you feel like you achieved what you started out to achieve with the record and delivering the message that you wanted to deliver?
Musically, yes. Lyrically, I don't know. You know, and I think that I would say that about every single one of our albums. You know, it's not this. I mean, I'm very proud of the lyrics. You know, I feel like I slaved over the lyrics on this record, which I can't say for some of our albums. You know, for some of our other albums. You know, but I slaved over these lyrics. You know, wanting to give some type of voice to somebody who would be voiceless, you know. And I hope is my answer to that question. You know, I hope, and you know, maybe one day we'll find out, right?
Yeah,
so
totally.
Until then, it's not in my hands.
Music with a message, and especially nowadays, there's not much message to the music that we listen to. A lot of it's either radio friendly or somebody's just writing lyrics about nothing.
Yeah.
But you delivered an album that actually talks about something that involves the audience and draws them in. You did something good there.
What? I mean, I hope so. You know, I mean, I hope that people, you know,
start a conversation.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that I feel like it's, you know, like I said earlier, it's not the sexiest headline. You know, it's an ugly thing looking into the pit of what people can do to each other. You know, if there's one thing that at this point, and maybe this is just a dark outlook, but I feel like a lot of our legacy as humanity has been like, hey Brian, that's our TM. If you were to look at, you know, our history objectively, like what would you say about humanity? And I think one of the things that would be brought up is, man, they're really good at hurting each other.
Yeah.
And that's sad, you know. And So yeah, I hope it starts a conversation. I hope that, you know, people look into it and realize that this is way more complicated and way more, just there's so many layers upon layers, you know, not just the past 10 years with Kim Jong-un coming into power, or like it goes back to the 50s when Kim Il-sung came into power in 1948, and, you know, how World War II ended and why that is that way, and then you go back further, and it's like these are deep roots, you know, deep waters, and so you know, I hope that, you know, as the conversation happens, you know, we're not just looking towards other people or towards like this, but like what can we actively do in our own lives, you know, and do some self-assessment, and like, well, what can I do in my immediate surroundings, you know, something practical, and, you know, hopefully raise awareness, do something, you know what I mean? So it was yeah. I at this point I'm rambling, so.
Oh, you're fine. The last question that I got for you, looking ahead to 2018, what's the plan? Where are you guys going from here?
Actually, in March, my wife Sarah and I will be having a kid.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm terrified and pumped at the same time, and it's this crazy mix of emotions. But yeah, so that's going on in March, and then beyond that, we do have a tour lined up that I cannot announce yet, but it's yeah, probably the biggest thing that we've done. So
nice.
So yeah, life is crazy, man. So yeah, and Dan and I have already talked about and like hashed out some ideas of what we want to do for the next record too. Nice. So I mean, I feel like we're always writing, but yeah, got a lot coming in 2018.
That's awesome, man.
So
that is really awesome. So are you gonna kind of take a break for a couple of months, be at home with the wife, and, you know, spend some time with the new baby?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll be like after this tour is done, we're going to be not doing anything till about June.
Give you just some time to prepare.
Just some time to prepare, man. So, you know, that's, you know, as much as I love band stuff and I love music stuff, like my first calling is towards my wife and
your family.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so yeah, and then after that, we'll see how the tour in June goes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there anything that I didn't touch on that you would like to add?
No, I mean, talked about the new record, talked about this tour and how it's been awesome. Let's see. Probably gonna have cookout again tonight. Other than that, no, man.
That's that Southern thing. You
Dude,
only get that on the East Coast and the South.
Yep. We had it last night and it was great. I think the Black Plague came out of me today, but that's but you know, it is what it is.
Tip. Here's a tip.
What's up?
Cookout is only good after about 1 a.m.
That is true. All right.
Don't go there during the day.
Okay. All right then.